This prison, known as the Wall for its unparalleled strength and security, witnessed a daring escape attempt in 1996. One inmate decided it was time to break free, understanding that such a feat required meticulous planning and teamwork. He rallied 6 of his fellow prisoners, assembling a team with diverse skills, ready to confront the myriad challenges that would undoubtedly arise during their escape. In the final phase of their plan, 2 team members were digging through the escape tunnel when disaster struck. The prison alarms blared. Another inmate had stabbed a guard, plunging the facility into a state of emergency. Guards quickly moved to secure all prisoners back into their cells. The pressing question: how would these 2 diggers manage to exit the tunnel undetected under such heightened security? This thrilling tale is rife with instances of quick thinking, intelligence, and daring, as the inmates navigated one predicament after another. Let's dive into the story to uncover their bold journey. The Western Penitentiary, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is one of the oldest correctional facilities in the United States and the world. Built in 1882 and closed in 2005, it stood for an impressive 123 years. At its inauguration, it was hailed as a modern marvel, designed with the noble intention of reforming its inmates. But as the decades passed, the prison transformed into a harsh, hellish place, much like many American prisons of that era. Renowned for its formidable security, the facility earned the nickname the Wall. For over a century, not a single prisoner successfully escaped its confines. With massive cement and stone walls reinforced by iron and extending 3 meters underground, it resembled a fortified castle. Inside, the prison was further secured by internal gates, watchtowers, and an array of security systems. Among the inmates was Nuno Pontis, a master safecracker notorious for his ability to crack, break, or open any safe. He had a Robin Hood streak, distributing some of his loot among struggling friends, neighbors, and family. However, he always kept the lion's share for himself, indulging in luxury cars, fine dining, and extravagant travel. His life of crime had landed him behind bars multiple times, and in 1992 he was sentenced to 15 years at the Western Penitentiary. Nuno watched as the prison conditions worsened: overcrowding, rampant violence, and senseless stabbings over trivial disputes. Witnessing this daily chaos, he concluded that escaping was no longer just a desire, but a necessity. He bided his time, searching for the right moment. In 1996, that moment came when Greg Quiring was assigned as his new cellmate. The 2 hit it off quickly, sharing common traits and building trust. Eventually, Nuno revealed his escape plan, and Greg eagerly agreed to join him. The duo brainstormed several escape strategies. Their first idea was to demolish a section of the prison wall, but they abandoned it, realizing it would lead to a swift recapture. Their second idea was to smuggle themselves out using construction trucks transporting materials. However, strict head counts before truck departures made this impossible. Finally, they settled on the classic escape method: digging a tunnel. Though fraught with risks, they believed they could succeed where others had failed by avoiding past mistakes. Lacking tunneling expertise, they recruited a third accomplice, Kevin Billingsley, a former miner serving a 40-year sentence. Kevin had considered escaping before, but lacked a concrete plan. Nuno assured him he would handle the logistics while Kevin focused on digging. Kevin agreed, and the team was set. The first challenge was finding a digging site. Nuno used his position in the prison's maintenance workshop to explore the facility's layout. Maintenance work granted him access to blueprints and areas across the prison. After months of scouting, he identified the perfect spot: the external warehouse. Located just outside the prison walls and facing the street, it was part of the prison's grounds, but less secure. If the tunnel could reach this warehouse, the team could easily exit to the street. To minimize the tunnel's length, Nuno determined the starting point needed to be as close as possible to the warehouse. He chose the maintenance building, located directly opposite the warehouse. The building had a crawlspace under one of its rooms, ideal for concealing the tunnel's entrance. However, the room was locked, and only guards had the key. Breaking the wall adjacent to the crawlspace was another option, but attempts to drill through it under the guise of maintenance failed. The drill was ineffective, and the risk of discovery was too high. The team returned to the drawing board and devised a new plan: create a replica of the key. After experimenting with materials, they found styrofoam ideal for capturing the key's impression. To get the imprint, Nuno orchestrated a distraction. He paid 2 inmates to start a fight during the guard's rounds. As the guard intervened, Nuno discreetly pressed the key into the styrofoam. The plan worked flawlessly. With the imprint, the team crafted a copper replica in the maintenance workshop. Testing the key presented its own risks, as the door was under surveillance. During recreation time, with Greg acting as a lookout, Nuno approached the maintenance room door, inserted the key, and attempted to turn it. Unfortunately, disaster struck when the key broke inside the lock. It was thin and weak, snapping almost immediately upon turning. The broken piece lodged itself in the lock, leaving Nuno and his partner in a state of panic. If they left it there, the guards would inevitably discover it during their rounds, triggering a prison-wide emergency that could ruin their escape plan. Nuno knew the only solution was to retrieve the broken piece. The tools he needed were in the maintenance workshop where he worked, a fortunate coincidence. Without wasting time, Nuno sprinted to the workshop behind the building. Although the tool cabinets and drawers were locked, Nuno had foreseen this and had secretly copied the necessary keys. With ease, he unlocked the workshop, grabbed a pair of pliers, and dashed back to the maintenance room. Time was of the essence. Nuno began carefully working to extract the broken key while his partner, Greg, stood watch. After several tense minutes and repeated attempts, Nuno finally managed to remove the broken piece. Miraculously, none of the guards noticed their activity. Nuno promptly returned the pliers to the workshop, and the two slipped away to regroup. Although their first attempt with the key had failed, the concept was still valid. They had the mold, so all they needed was to create a stronger version. Over the next few days, they crafted a new key. When they tried it, their efforts paid off. It worked. The door to the coveted room was finally unlocked. Inside the room, they found a small metal gate that led to a crawl space. This crawl space would become the starting point for their tunnel. But before they began digging, Nuno devised a clever distraction for the guards, brewing alcohol inside the prison. How Nuno and his partners managed to produce alcohol within the prison walls remains a mystery, but they succeeded in distributing it among the inmates. The guards became preoccupied with uncovering and stopping the brewing operation, completely unaware that it was merely a diversion for the real plan, digging a tunnel under the maintenance room. As the digging began, challenges quickly emerged. On one occasion, Nuno faced a heart-stopping moment during a routine inspection. Returning to his cell after recreation, a guard at the dormitory gate stopped him for a search. Nuno had the maintenance room key in his pocket, which was crucial to their escape plan. However, inmates working in maintenance were allowed to carry certain keys. Confidently, Nuno handed over all his keys without hesitation, trusting that his composure would divert suspicion. The gamble worked. The guard returned the keys after the search, none the wiser. Not all plans went smoothly. Greg, responsible for distributing the homemade alcohol, was caught and placed in solitary confinement. His subsequent altercation with a guard extended his isolation, effectively removing him from the operation. This left Nuno and Kevin to shoulder the burden of digging the tunnel. Kevin, skilled in construction, took charge of the digging process, guiding Nuno as they worked in shifts. They had to lock the maintenance room behind them to avoid detection. The digging was grueling, using only wooden tools and a small bucket to remove the soil. The prison's location on a riverbank complicated matters further, as the soil was muddy and prone to collapse. Without proper ventilation, they frequently had to exit the tunnel to catch their breath. The tunnel needed to bypass the prison's 3-meter-deep walls, requiring them to dig at least 4 meters deep and 12 meters horizontally. The immense effort involved removing an estimated 15 tons of soil. The passing trucks near the external warehouse added to the risk of collapse, but Nuno and Kevin pressed on. Their work drew unwanted attention from an inmate named Carmen Keller. A life sentence for second-degree murder granted Carmen little to lose, and his suspicions about Nuno and Kevin's activities compelled them to include him in their plan. Carmen's addition proved advantageous. His role in the prison's education department granted him access to various areas and the ability to issue inmate passes, which eased their operations. Realizing they needed transportation after escaping, Nuno brought in a fourth member, George Kennard, an elderly inmate with outside connections. George promised to secure a car for their getaway. While George didn't participate in the digging, the team intensified their efforts, digging by shifts to reach their goal. By December 1996, the tunnel was nearly complete. However, disaster struck during an emergency lockdown caused by a violent altercation in the prison. Kevin and Carmen were still in the maintenance room when the alarm sounded, leaving Nuno scrambling to save them. Thinking fast, Nuno incited a distraction by encouraging a fight between two inmates. As the guards intervened, Nuno slipped away, freed his partners, and helped them return to their cells unnoticed. The incident solidified Nuno's leadership, with the group now fully committed to seeing their plan through. Though challenges persisted, their resolve was unshaken. With the tunnel nearly finished, their focus shifted to finalizing the escape plan and securing their freedom. As the tunnel neared completion, a new member, Andrew, a car thief serving 10 years for theft and assault, joined the group, increasing its size to 5. Although Andrew arrived late in the tunnel digging process, his expertise would prove crucial after the escape. Shortly after Andrew's inclusion, the group gained a 6th member, Thomas, an elderly man with failing health and deteriorating vision. Thomas offered no strategic advantage but was brought in out of compassion by Nuno, the group's leader. Despite concerns, the team trusted Nuno's decision, and Thomas was accepted. With 6 members, the team faced their final tunnel-digging challenge, breaking through the reinforced concrete floor of a warehouse above them. This phase required digging vertically, a perilous task prone to soil collapse. Unfazed, Nuno volunteered, further cementing his leadership. Digging upwards, he managed to breach the surface, allowing fresh air to flow into the tunnel. However, the concrete's steel reinforcements required additional tools. Nuno's prior work in the maintenance workshop proved invaluable. Using duplicate keys, he accessed the workshop to retrieve a drill, a hydraulic jack, and other necessary tools. The team worked together, drilling holes in the concrete to weaken it before using the hydraulic jack to break through. Cutting through the steel bars with an electric saw, they successfully opened the tunnel exit into a rarely used corner of the warehouse, a perfect low-visibility escape route. The group decided to escape early the next morning, as evening headcounts and locked cells made nighttime movement impossible. Carmen Keller, who worked in the prison's rehabilitation department, issued permits allowing the team to leave their cells early under the guise of assigned tasks. That night, anxiety filled the air, with Nuno unable to sleep. At 6 a.m. on January 8, 1997, the escape began. The team left their cells and regrouped at the maintenance room, entering the tunnel in a prearranged order. Kevin went first, followed by the others, with Nuno bringing up the rear. The journey through the narrow, dark tunnel was particularly challenging for Thomas due to his frailty, but with teamwork, they all emerged safely into the warehouse. Once outside, they quickly changed into civilian clothes they had kept in storage. To avoid suspicion from the guard stationed at a nearby watchtower, they donned stolen worker helmets and walked out confidently, even greeting the guard, who returned the gesture. The immediate priority was finding transportation. Andrew used his skills to hotwire a car, and the group drove away, heading toward Texas. By the time the prison's 10 a.m. head count revealed their absence, they were already over 200 kilometers away. The plan was to secure forged identities in Texas, then cross into Mexico before heading to a South American country. Upon reaching Texas, they stayed in a secluded, rundown hotel while waiting for the forged documents. However, their escape began to unravel when Thomas, who had a methamphetamine addiction, relapsed. Following an argument with Nuno, Thomas left the group and was later hospitalized. His family, informed of his hospitalization, tipped off the police, leading authorities to focus their search in Texas. On January 18th, police spotted Nuno and Carmen during a routine patrol. A chase ensued, ending with Carmen's capture while Nuno escaped into the forest. After 2 days in hiding, Nuno returned to the hotel, where the others anxiously awaited him. Unbeknownst to them, Carmen had betrayed their location. The group relocated to another hotel, but police tracked their contact for forged IDs, leading them to the fugitives. On January 20th, 1997, SWAT teams raided the new hotel, capturing all 6 escapees. Their brief 12-day freedom came to an abrupt end. The punishments were severe. Nuno, for example, spent 14 years in solitary confinement, locked in his cell for 23 hours daily. This escape, though meticulously planned, became a stark reminder of the cost of defying the system. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel.